Okay, so my name is Vivian Burgle, and I'm with the Employee and Family Resource Program. I'm a consultant with the vendor that the EFR uses. And today we're going to talk about retirement, which is a big subject. And we're going to talk about navigating it from an emotional point of view, so not from a financial point of view, because the emotional side is often overlooked, and we really want to pay attention to that.
Can't see the
So,
meeting.
as Gail said, if you can mute yourself unless you want to talk, that would be great. But preferably, please mute yourself. Somebody is unmuted. I don't know who they are, but if you could mute yourself, that'd be great. So today we're going to, again, emphasize that this is not about finances, but we're talking about what to expect during the transition. Okay, there's somebody who's not muted, please, if you can mute yourself. Okay. So we're going to explore identity and purpose beyond work and really talk about ways that are going to help you move into this next transition, whether or not it was voluntarily done or not. So why should we talk about this? Because it's really important. And 1 out of 3 retirees report emotional challenges after leaving work. But what's really important to remember about this is the ones that report emotional challenges haven't prepared for it.
I'm an assistant, but
And you do need someone mute themselves, please. So the transition involves identity. Your identity as a worker will no longer be. Your structure, you have a structure, you get up at a certain time usually, go to the office or go to your office at your house. The relationships you have with your people, that's all transitioning. And just remember, it's not a date. You might set your date, but it's really a journey and it doesn't happen all at once. And change is the change, but the transition is the emotional aspects of it. And there are many, many factors that come into affecting how you deal with retirement. It could be whether or not it was voluntary, whether you had planned it at the time that it's happening, what your support systems are, your family situation, your location, what work meant to you. You know, some people are very happy to get out of their jobs and some people are not. So it's a lot of different things that affect it. So it's
not about finances.
Could you please mute yourself? Thank you. So what is the emotional landscape? What do you think you have to deal with? And this is,
hold on 1 minute.
Okay, can you mute yourself, whoever that is? Okay. So some of the feelings, and it doesn't mean those feelings are going to be here for all of you all of the time, and feel free to put up in the chat any of your feelings. So relief, possibly, excitement, anxiety, how am I going to spend my time? A big one is loss of identity. So one of the things that I don't know if anybody has heard of William Bridges, he's an expert on change, and he talks about the different phases. First, there's the ending and, you know, kind of getting adjusted to the fact that it's ending. And then there's the neutral place, and that's kind of in between before you get to your beginnings. Think about it as a trapeze artist going from one side of the tent to the other. You're flying in the air and you're hoping you're going to get to the other side. Well, that's the neutral zone. And then new beginnings. This is when you accept, you embrace it. And again, it's not a linear movement. It could be you go back and forward. So remember that this is a normal thing to be ebbs and flows. It's not a straightforward thing. And you should expect to have a lot of different feelings and emotions. And you could feel excitement, and also you can feel anxiety and relief. You can feel them all together. It doesn't mean one, cancels out the other. So if you could say what word best describes how you feel about retirement right now, and there's no right or wrong answer, and I know that we have, thank you, Carly is monitoring, and Gail monitoring the chat, so feel free to put it in the chat. We'd love to hear how you feel. What is one word that best describes how you feel?
Vivian, we're getting a lot of great responses, ranging from joy, excited, bittersweet. I see excited a few times,
Mm-hmm,
uncertain,
mm-hmm,
nervous,
mm-hmm.
happy. Where was the one that I really enjoyed? Being put out to pasture.
Oh, that's serious. That's a lot.
Relieved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wide range of emotions.
Right. So some nervousness, it sounds like, but some excitement. So put out to pasture, that's a pretty strong statement. So sometimes people do feel that, their purpose and their value is no longer needed, and that can be difficult. So, and then we're going to talk about this more. We're going to need to define what is your purpose now? Where does your value come from? Where does your identity come from? And all those things don't happen overnight. So you need to give yourself time and patience as you go through this. It is an up and down process. And again, there's a lot of factors that affect how you feel. And I mentioned a few of them before. The support systems you have, how it happened, all of those are different things that are going to affect you. So, one thing I really encourage people to do is not expect don't, if somebody is all happy and you're not, don't compare yourself, because you're in different situations, you're different people, and you have to honor your feelings, whatever they are, because there's there's not one way to feel. And this is a big transition. It's also going into the later part of your life. So, that's another big piece of this. It's just not retiring from your job, it's going into the latter part of your life, which is another journey. So be patient, please, with yourself. I hope that message you can remember, because some people will say to me, well, I should be this and I should be that. There's a lot of shoulds. Don't should on yourself, please. I like that one, huh? So, no, I'm serious though, really. It is very important that you're kind to yourself and give yourself the space to explore this next journey in your life, and to realize that you're going to be on the other side. And I can't think of anybody who doesn't feel good in the other side.
Uh-huh.
What can I
Oh,
substitute for time?
okay, it looks like,
A good substitute for thyme would be oregano. This is from
okay, somebody's talking about oregano, which is exciting, but we want that to, okay. So this goes from role to purpose. So your role as a worker, whatever role it is, if you're a nurse or a BA or environmental services, whatever you're doing, that's your role. So the challenge is, who am I without my title? What am I? And remember, your purpose isn't tied to a paycheck. You're more than your job. So we're going to discuss three pillars of well-being, which is purpose. What's your purpose? Connection to people. And how do you want to grow? Because there is growth involved, the potential for growing and learning new things and enjoying new things. You've worked hard. You earned to be enjoying things. So keep that in mind. You've earned that. So let's talk about your journey. What has given your work meaning right now that you are going to feel sad about leaving? And how might that continue after retirement? So you can either say it out loud, or you can, journal to yourself, or you can chat. But I think this is really important. Give yourself a few moments to think about this. Does anyone want to share anything? Give yourself a couple of minutes here. Any shares in the chat?
Yeah, so far we've had service to others, hope to continue to connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to speak. It's Kathy Matura.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi. So what's given meaning is making an impact, a positive impact on patients and families.
Mhm.
And my plan to continue that after retirement is to volunteer in that
Okay.
same setting. So geriatrics is my love. I was
Mhm.
ripped out of geriatrics and sent
Mhm.
across town with the
Mhm.
reorganization. So I've
Sorry.
already started to grieve geriatrics. I've already started to, separate myself from that. So this
Mhm.
retirement is actually going to be a little bit easier because I'm
Mm. That's
leaving
good.
my first love. But
Right.
I've already contacted the senior center in my town, and I'm going to meet with the director and volunteer so that I can continue to make a positive impact on the older population, which I'm fast becoming a part of.
Right, you're concurrently doing it. Right, right. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Kathy. And sounds like you're making what was a difficult transition and it not voluntary into something positive in the long run. But I think the important part you said is that you had to grieve, and you have to grieve when you're leaving a job, even if it's a job you really want to leave. You're still grieving. And so you have to allow yourself the space to have the feelings and emotions in order to move past them. You can't bypass them. So I think you gave a great example, Kathy, and good luck in your endeavors. It sounds
Thank you.
like yeah. And for people who might not have figured it out yet, that's okay too. And don't put pressure on yourself. This is a process. So, don't put pressure on yourself. And then also, Kathy brings up she's going to go continue in the kind of work she does. And you may not want to do that. Somebody might want to be, let's just say you're a social worker, which I am, and you want to do something completely different, like give people books or, you know, um, I used to sell children's books. Maybe I would do something like that. I got a lot of enjoyment out of that. Or whatever it is, you may not need to follow or want to follow what you were doing before. You might want to really switch gears. So this is a very individual decision. So are there anything else in the chat that,
A common theme in the chat is making a difference to others as what has given your work meaning is
okay.
helping others and making a difference to others.
Okay. So, but since it's such a theme, it sounds like people have to figure out, or may have already figured out, how they continue to do that after they retire. That
Right.
seems to be, for quite a lot of people, especially because we are a healthcare organization, and people either are on the front or the back lines of helping patients and their families. So trying to find something that they want to continue having some meaning. And you'll see as we go on, that's a very important thing. But again, it doesn't have to be the same type of thing. It can be something different. Anything else, or Gail in there? Nope. Okay.
Relationship with coworkers is a good one.
Okay. So how do you connect with people when you leave is another one, and that's a very important goal. And takes, sometimes people are already connected, but sometimes you want to make an effort. Maybe you join something that you never thought you would join, and we'll talk about that more. So keeping relationships and missing the ones you had and continuing with other ones is very important. So one of the things we want to do is transitioning with with awareness. So in other words, just the fact that you're here on this webinar shows me you're already doing this. You're transitioning with awareness. You're not blindly going into it. And so some of the tools that you can do is, well, support. Make sure you have support. We'll talk about the Employee and Family Resource Program has counseling. You can avail yourself of that. And if you start before your retirement date, you can receive the counseling sessions after that, as long as you start before. So one of the things is flexibility. Don't be rigid about what you think you're going to do. Maybe be open-minded. Self-compassion, which I've been speaking about, which I have a very strong feeling about because I see a lot of clients who aren't very kind to themselves. Being compassionate for your journey. It's maybe not always easy, but you have to be kind to yourself. And mindfulness, and this is very important. So being mindful of how you're doing, so that you don't react on autopilot. So you want to step back and observe your thoughts, your feelings, and also even how your body feels. So sort of be self-aware about yourself, which is mindfulness. So basically pause, breathe, and observe. Periodically do that. And there'll be, of course, as we spoke about, and you've already spoken about, other emotional responses throughout this process, and they'll go back and forward. So breathing through change, giving yourself some space. So is there anything that, before we do a little breathing exercise, is there anything people feel fearful about as they go into this stage of their life? You can do the chat if you want. Okay. All right. So has anybody responded to that or no? That's a heavy question. So maybe you're feeling.
Yeah, we just got a few responses, just dealing with uncertainty, being lonely, not being busy.
Not being what was the last thing? I'm sorry.
Busy, not being busy.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Legitimate fears, but all something that can be worked on. So
Yeah.
let's just take a moment, since fear is something that will be present, and anxiety, and just take a moment. Let's do a quick breathing exercise. And just if you want, you can close your eyes or have a gentle downward gaze, whatever you feel comfortable with. And just begin to relax and let your awareness move inward. Just start to focus on your breathing. You don't need to control it, but just notice your
within
breathing.
this group too.
Just see if you can really be aware of your breathing. You can think of your breath cycle like the ocean with the waves lapping at the shore, and just the gentle movements of your breath, the coming in, the going out, the pauses between the breaths. You don't have to push or strain. You don't have to control it in any way. Just allow yourself to relax. Just observe and let it deepen and slow as you feel more comfortable. Just watching it, let it be. And remember, when you're thinking of things that are fearful in your next stage, you can always do this. Just continue to breathe in and breathe out. And look back in your life of the things that you had to do that were difficult and how you did them and you went through them, remembering your strengths, your resilience. And just spend a few moments. Spend a few moments just allowing yourself to enjoy this feeling of relaxation. And know that you can always do this when you're feeling this fear or worries. And remember to look back in your life and the things you have done. So if you're ready, you can open your eyes. Anyone hopefully get a little more relaxed through doing that? Okay. This is something you can do at any point, except of course when you're driving, but you can always just stop and give yourself some time to do some deep breathing to relax yourself. And this really helps your nervous system. So one of the things that's important, and I think you would know this, but just to reiterate this, is the taking care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself during this transition, and hopefully you've been taking care of yourself anyway. But this is even when you're going to have more time and flexibility to take care of yourself, to make sure that you're emotionally taking care of yourself, physically, whatever way that's good for you, eating right, spending time with family and friends, making an effort to connect with people, and having fun, and spiritual help. It's making sure that you're connected with spiritual, if that's, something that helps you. So this is a study, a Harvard study of adult development, and it's the longest study ever done on longevity and happiness in relationships. So what makes a good life? What was the number one factor? Think about that. I bet you probably know what it is. Good relationships keep us happier and healthy. So the person who mentioned loneliness, that's a legitimate fear, and that's something that can be worked on because good relationships and support are going to be crucial in retirement. They're crucial anyway, but especially now. So social connections, as you know, are really good for us, and that loneliness, unfortunately, can be very detrimental to your health, physical and mental health. There's been a epidemic of loneliness, but it doesn't mean you have to be lonely. So remember that this is something, there's things you can join. The senior centers have a lot of free activity, and we'll talk about this more. Libraries have book clubs. There's, if you're a physical hiking groups, walking groups, there's a lot of things that people can join to counteract any kind of loneliness or isolation. So this is important too. It's not just the number of friends you have, it's also the quality of your relationships. Are those friends people you can really talk to and, share things with? Or are they, more superficial? And there's nothing wrong with acquaintances, but you want to have some close relationships that really matter. As I said, they don't just protect your body, they protect your brains. So I encourage people, and this came from The Secret to a Happy Life. So it's better to be in a relationship. Some people say, well, I'm not married, I don't have a partner. And that can be a challenge if you're on your own, but also a lot of people stay in marriages or relationships that have a lot of conflict, and that's even worse than if you're not in a relationship. So this is a time where you really want to assess your relationships and say, who do I want to spend time with, and who do I not want to spend time with? And you have choices. So this actually study went from when it was men, from right into their 80s and from when they were 50. And it turned out that being in a securely attached relationship is very protective, but it doesn't have to be marriage or a partnership. It can be generally close relationships. So this was a very important study. So if anyone has any questions or comments as I go through this, please feel free to put in the chat. So what's next? That's the big question, right? What's next? So you have to be able to plan some things, look ahead, and that's what will help everybody to look ahead. So what kind of plans? Like a friend of mine who just retired, he's treating his time like he did when he was working. So he's scheduling for activities. He does bike riding, so he's scheduling bike. I mean, you don't have to be rigid, but it's good to have some rhythm in your life. Or, maybe you do yoga once a week and you have a set time. So you want to have some kind of rhythm to your life, but it doesn't have to be rigid. So does anyone have, Kathy shared about working with older people. Does anyone have some ideas about what they will schedule in their life, whether it's hobbies or volunteering or book club or anything, a knitting club? You're never too old to set another goal, but it doesn't have to be rigid. Anyone want to share anything they have in mind? I was thinking of taking up knitting. We'll see how that goes. Anyone else?
Somebody mentioned joining a book club, taking up golf,
Oh, that's good.
Gardening,
Oh,
volunteering,
Yeah, gardening's great.
knitting, traveling. Yeah, lunch with friends.
That's a nice one.
Ooh, Italian lessons. That sounds fantastic.
Oh, it does.
Another golf and a lot of daily walking.
Yeah, walking is a wonderful wonderful. It's good for your mind and it's good for your body. So it's a double help. Sounds like people have a lot of good things. And,
Yeah.
as you go forward, you can think of more things but start to think of things. Some people keep a journal about their journey through retirement. If you're a person who likes to write, you can do that. There's a lot of good books out there. We'll talk about some of the resources at the end. So it sounds like people got some great ideas. And you can be flexible about it. If you say I'm going to do XYZ every Tuesday, but once something comes up that you don't want to do it, that's fine. That's what's the good thing about retirement, right? So this is purpose is obviously very important. You've identified that, the research has identified that. And what's really interesting is that a new study suggests that even across cultures, all across cultures, there's a lot of similarity in where humans find purpose in life and how it brings us fulfillment. So there's 16 general categories, if you see on the slide here. And the ones that were top 5 for each country were happiness, self-sufficiency, and family were in the top 5. So that shows how important those are. Whereas actually religion and recognition were in the bottom 5 for each country. So purpose is very important. But this shows that there's a lot of commonality, and I think you've identified it here right now. So the kind of things that you see up here, well, happiness is one, as we mentioned, self-improvement. So, you can maybe start doing crossword puzzles or, some of the other things that are out there. Family, we've talked about that, relationships, recognition. Actually, that doesn't sound like one of the top ones for most people. Self-sufficiency, that's a big one. I know from people who have had helped their elderly parents, they don't want to give up their self-sufficiency. And I'm sure most of us feel that way. So that's important. Obviously, money is important. Making the world a better place, we've identified that. So mattering, we've identified that. Persevering, that's an interesting one. Physical health, that's very important. So you see that there's a lot of areas that you can work on when you retire, and that you don't have to do them all, but you see some of the more important ones. Oops. So purpose, that we've identified how important that is. Purpose is it's not a destination, it's a climb. So when you set goals, you don't want to set goals like, for instance, I set a goal for when I retire, I'm going to organize the whole house, right? Which if you saw my house, you'd realize that's pretty not realistic. I still haven't done my scrapbook for my daughter. So you have to be realistic. So you want to take it one step at a time. So don't set yourself up for failure. So that's very important. So it makes sense that mattering, which is what you've all talked about, is especially linked with meaning. So mattering to people also gives you meaning, and it comes in different ways. So you might, if, for instance, you may want to do something like help someone learn English or something of that, but you have the choices of what gives you meaning and purpose. Nobody can give you that. You have the choices. Any thoughts about that? Goals you might have or things that would give you purpose? I think we talked about a little bit. Physical health is important. All right, we'll move on. So here's some of the ideas, and we've talked about some of them. So volunteer, you've already talked about. Read more, take a class. Actually, a lot of the colleges, they offer free classes. I know Southern does because I know somebody who takes classes there. Podcasts, there's a lot of fascinating podcasts. YouTube, somebody said learn Italian. That's wonderful. That also helps your brain. Nobody brought up music or dancing. Do we have any dancers out there? Okay. Well, there you go. You could learn.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got my
somebody?
country dancing that I
Oh,
do.
that sounds so much fun.
Yeah, and I got
You-
most of the crew is an older group too, so the kids
So
don't
you,
want to really get into it too much.
no, that's cool. I haven't heard anyone doing that.
Yeah.
So you've been doing it all before you're retiring. You've already done
Oh
it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, they still do. We have our when one DJ does it in Milford at the Elks in
Oh,
Milford
okay.
and up in East Haven.
Okay.
So it's different places.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that sounds a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's country dancing? I'm sorry, I missed what you said.
It's country. They do both line and partner dances. So
Oh, fun. That's fun. Yeah,
yep.
so you can start doing something. I don't know what your first name is,
Oh,
but
Bob.
Bob.
I'm Robert officially.
Okay, Robert Bob. You gave us some also resources about where people can do it, so that's nice. Thank you for that. That's a great one. And I know my friend used to do swing dancing. Now that you mentioned your dancing, she loved it. She met her husband there too. So it's a great way to get out. Some people have done ballroom dancing. There's a lot out there. And sometimes it's a little, maybe a little hard to try something new, but you can do it. Learn an instrument, word games, puzzles, chess, yoga, pickleball is very big nowadays, and it's an older crowd, like Bob said. There's a lot. My husband does it, and he says people are in their 70s, 80s, and they're doing it. Hang out with children. Now, this one is an interesting one because some people who have grandchildren have told me that their adult children want them to babysit more. So yeah, this is a point where we haven't brought up. You may have to set boundaries. And this one person said that her son wanted her to drive to New Jersey every week, and she wasn't too keen on that idea. So it's not just what you're going to do; it's what you're not going to do. This is your time, and you have to make sure you don't give it away in a way that isn't what you want to do. If this isn't the time to assert your own things, there's not going to be another time. So you have that freedom now. And so I hope you can use it. All right. Anything else before we move on?
Vivian, there was a question in the chat about, in a previous slide, it mentioned purpose anchors, and if you could define those.
Purpose anchors, you said? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, it just means that you have something that's giving you purpose. It's an anchor in your life. You can say, this is giving me purpose. So it's not, you're not just randomly doing it. You have a definite plan about what's going to give you purpose. I hope that answers the person's question. So it's more formalized, I guess, is the best way to say it. Does that answer your question, whoever it is?
Yes, they said thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for asking questions. Please, if you see something that isn't clear or you want to further explore something, please do not hesitate. So this is a reflective prompt. So here it is. Some of the things that you'll do more time with, and if you can spend just a couple of minutes reflecting on this, really what you want to do, not what you think you should do, but what you want to do. Just spend a couple minutes. You can either write it down or think about it in your head that maybe you haven't thought about up to now. Again, put it in the chat. And we did talk a little bit about grandchildren, so anybody have any comments about that too, whether or not that's something you want us to do or not do? Okay, so let's talk about, you mentioned a couple of fears, loneliness. what about how do people feel that that's a legitimate fear and it's an important one. How do you feel people that somebody who said that could not be lonely? What are some of the things that they could do?
Have to schedule things on purpose.
Okay, that's a good one. Yep, schedule things on purpose. So make
Join
a
a
point to
club.
connect, join a club. Yep. All right. Any, I
Take a
like that.
class.
Take a class. Yep. Senior center, colleges, um, preferably in person so you could meet people, though you can meet people online too. Okay, anything else to help with that fear of loneliness? You might want to, if you're somebody who's shy about joining a club or doing something out there, you might find someone who would go with you to, even if it's just for the first time, to get you going. Because I know sometimes people, are shy. So find a buddy that you can go with, even if it's the first time. All right. So this is sort of a continuation. So what's one thing you'd love to explore or begin in retirement? Jot it down or share in chat, like something really that you never did before, that you're really kind of maybe even a little nervous about doing, but you really want to do it. I know there's some brave people out there. Okay, well, we can come back to this. We're going to have a question and answer turn. So if
Those
there's
are some
any,
great, yeah, we got a few great responses that just came in.
oh,
Piano
okay.
lessons,
Ooh,
learning to play pickleball, visit Yellowstone National Park.
ooh,
That's a great one. More traveling. Those are great.
yeah.
Yoga, exploring a new career.
Oh, that's an interesting one. Okay, I like that's different. That's a very good one because you have the option and you can do it in your own time in your own place too. Okay, was that pretty much all of them,
Yeah,
Gail? Or, yep.
yeah, we've got some additional new jobs, start a walking club,
Oh, cool.
hiking.
Hiking, yeah. Walking club's cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, maybe connect with other people that are retiring too, to sort of, have your own support group, so to speak. I don't know if senior centers do that. I have not explored that. But I know a friend of mine who's a social worker is retiring and she's thinking of starting one. So who knows? You could also start one. So great ideas, really, really good ideas. And on the new career part is good because it's maybe something you always had a passion for that you can now explore. The good news is you have a lot of choices and a lot of options. So here's some tools because it's important that you have tools. So I mentioned the Transitions by William Bridges. He's been a consultant in he's deceased, but he's very well known for his work on change and how to cope with change. And I would recommend him. The things he says are still relevant today, even though he started writing years and years ago. Journaling your feelings for those. If you don't write, talking to other people about your feelings, daily mindfulness check-ins for those of you who do mindful meditation. Really important to do that now that you're entering a new journey. There's a lot of different websites and podcasts and YouTubes for doing meditation. Some of them are listed here, but there's many, many, many more. And they're all, most of them are free. You don't have to spend money on them. Any thoughts, any questions? So, any more about the fears that you're having? Because I think that's important. Hopefully we got some answers to kind of dealing with some of those. Here's some other resources, and this is right here in Yale New Haven Health System. Employee and Family Resource Program, of which I'm part of, and we'll talk about that more. Health coaches. We're fortunate to have one of the health coaches on this webinar today. Fidelity retirement team that you have as part of the hospital. Medicare brokers. This is important, and you don't have to pay for Medicare brokers. So I recommend them because Medicare, even for people who are savvy, it can be very confusing. Senior centers, we talked about. AARP, they have wonderful stuff. They have all kind of things. They have a lot of live exercise things, and some of them are for people who are older who might have mobility issues. So I highly recommend it. It's not expensive to join, and a lot of them you can actually partake in without even being a member. But they have workshops on finances. They have there's a ton of stuff for seniors. They have a whole piece on how to navigate technology for teenagers. They do that quite well for seniors. So I recommend AARP is a resource. This is some articles, as you see. People who did this one thing at 50 were the healthiest at age 80. So that was one of the things we referenced. Obviously, hope is very important. Hope may be more central to well-being than happiness or gratitude. Everybody knows Debbie Downers, and they don't do well because they're Debbie Downers. So, and Debbie Downs too. So these are some resources. Any questions about those? So let me talk about the Employee and Family Resource Program, of which I'm part of, and Gail, who's on overseas. So this is a program where you are offered a lot of different services. Bud Wesell coordinates it. I'm a consultant, and Gail, as I mentioned, who's on being nicely monitoring the chat, oversees the programs. So you can contact us with any questions. So what we do is up to 6 sessions of counseling for any kind of life problem. So transitioning to retirement could be a problem, or maybe there's some other things you're dealing with concurrently. We do it in person, phone, video. Very important. It's confidential. Nothing goes in any kind of record at Yale. Nothing goes in Episoft, MyChart, HR. It's an outside vendor called Carillon, so everything is completely confidential. Very important that you know that. And you can do it in person, phone, or video. And we also give work-life resources. So for instance, if you're looking for some of the things we talked about helping you in retirement, they can do the work and research it for you. And that's free to you, okay? We also do critical incident stress responses, which hopefully you don't need, but if you do in your workplace, we come into the workplace. The other part is legal and financial services, which is timely if you're retiring and you're interested, you haven't done a will, or you have questions about, things to do with trusts or anything. You could start off, you get an hour of free legal advice for family law and a half an hour for non-family law. So all this is free, and to employees and dependent household members. Any question about that before I go on? Because this is important.
There's a question, I believe it's about EFR, if only able to access these resources while you're still working, or can we use it after they leave?
Yep, that's a good question. You can use it up until when you leave, okay? So, but if you start it before you leave, then you can continue, whatever. If you say you started the counseling and you did one session and then your patient was, say, September 19th, because I know that is for a lot of people, you could continue with your counseling sessions. So good question. Thank you for asking that. I appreciate that. Anyone else, or is anything, Gail, you wanted to add to that, or?
And do you know anything about the Silver Sneakers program?
No, I don't. I do know that people get free gym membership because the gym I go to, I don't have it myself, but a lot of people do. I think it's connected with, I'm not sure, so I don't want to give you, but that could be a question you could call and ask about through Caroline.
Sure. And I
Yeah.
also see a comment that you emailed EFR but did not get a response. Did you email one of the Yale New Haven team members, or did you contact Caroline directly? And if you want, we can take that offline and assist you.
Absolutely. We're available if there's any kind of problem accessing the services, accessing the services. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, and the website is very good. I encourage people to use it. It has a lot of resources, and of course, it's vetted, which is really nice. You can actually start with the counselor through the website. There's a lot of great guided meditations. And as you see, there's articles on retirement. In fact, if you want more information on retirement, you can see this Caroline, if you go on the website, and that's the website there, and you go to emotional wellness topics, you can search for retirement or any topic you're interested in. For instance, there's one four non-financial keys for a happy retirement, 12 ways to achieve a happy retirement. And so already you're doing what's going to help you by being on this webinar and looking ahead and planning. That's already the first step. So before I open it to questions, Carly is going to describe Thrive, the health coaching, and how to access some more services that are very valuable. So,
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Vivian. As Vivian said, my name is Carly Smolik. I'm one of the health coaches and a registered dietitian nutritionist, and we are available for you before you leave. So while you're still here, we would love to meet with you if you're interested and set you up on a really great, health and nutrition plan. Because sometimes it's hard when you lose the structure of your work day or the structure of your work week to stay on track with especially health goals, and as Vivian said before about finding purpose, your health is also, it's not a destination. It's just a nonstop climb, a nonstop journey, to continue taking good care of yourself. So we are completely free. We are confidential. We can talk through nutrition, exercise, all kinds of health and wellness topics for you to help you come up with a plan to continue on. And you don't need to be on the medical plan. We don't charge insurance. It has nothing to do with that. Just you just need to be a current employee. And you can reach us through Thrive Health Coaching at YNHH.org. And then you can also find us. Go ahead, next slide. Thank you, Vivian.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you needed
Yes,
more of that.
thank you.
Yeah.
And then you can find us on the employee intranet. You can search for Thrive under departments and communities, and the whole Thrive is really an umbrella term for all of the employee well-being activities and offerings. And you can find us, there's a link for Thrive Health Coaching there, but you'll also find information for the EFR program that Vivian was just speaking about and other things that you are entitled to as a current employee.
Thank you, Carly. Any questions about Thrive, or did you finish what you were going to say, Carly?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any questions about the health coaching or anything about that? Because it's a great program and it's free and wonderful.
Yeah, that's where you're gonna go.
Okay, I guess nothing in the chat there?
I don't see anything.
No, nothing right now.
Okay. So questions. Let's see what questions you have or anything that comments or concerns. Somebody's, this would be a great time to do that.
People are gonna lose it. Well, they're losing it. We're losing it sometimes with everything, but not to.
Anything that you wanted to get from this that you didn't, I would love to hear, and we can help address that. Would be great.
There have been a few questions about this presentation and if the slides will be available, and we will put a PDF version of these slides on the Thrive website that Carly
Yeah.
was just talking about under My Wellbeing. We will try to also get it right on that front page area under Live and Recorded, where the recording will be posted as well.
Right. Yeah, good question. And if there's anything you individually want to ask one of us, you're free to get in contact with us.
But we're having rounds and they're going to ask about it. It's been a couple of days. I don't know anything about.
Is there anything else? Any other
Transportation benefits.
questions?
Anyway, for Husky,
Things that you'd like to explore that weren't covered? I was going to go back to our there we go. That's our contact information.
I see one comment in the chat expressing concern about retiring and having to take on responsibility of taking care of aging parents full time. That's a very legitimate concern.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is, I would recommend that if that occurs, or it sounds like it is going to occur, that you get a lot of support and help. And there are a lot of resources, the Department of Aging. There's other ones. You can actually call Caroline and ask for some resources about that. And I'd be happy to talk to you about it. But there's physical, there's actual resources, and then there's emotional support. So I recommend getting both of those.
Isn't that awful? But it's not very good.
Because you don't want to do that alone.
Soon, I think. Yeah, maybe even tonight. I can't keep up.
Anything else?
She said she
Or did that answer your question about the elder care?
But yeah, but it's kind of like.
Senior centers are another good resource
She's in
for information about elder care. But I guess the main thing is not to try to do it all by yourself, because you'll get burnt out.
Basically, it's in nursing. It's not even.
Is there anything else that anyone else before we go to the end? So hopefully these are key takeaways. Emotions are normal. Expect to have a lot of different ones. And anxiety, fear, excitement, all the ones we talked about, they will happen. Again, it depends on you and your situation. But don't hesitate to reach out to EFR if you want to get some help with sorting it out. It's a big change. Your identity evolved. Yes, dear.
Can you put the contact information up again?
Sure, of course.
Thank you.
There we go. And Carly had mentioned how to get hold of her, right? Did you want to say that again, Carly? Because I don't know if
Friday at 2:00.
Sure. You can email the Thrive Health Coaching at YNHHS.org to find out.
Thank you.
The only thing is, it's probably more so trauma education, inpatient ED.
All right. Is there anything else? Is that hopefully you got the contact information.
I think they really like it.
So just remember that connections are important, and self-care is crucial, and self-compassion. So before we finish, is there anything else we can help you with, or?
Isn't that Andrew's? I mean, everybody's doing, yeah.
Like maybe talk to Lori, give her some advice on how to approach it.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the good information.
You're welcome, and good luck with everything.
Okay.
I
bye.
heard you. Yeah, good luck. Bye-bye.
Yep, bye. Thank you very much. Okay, bye.
You're welcome, Sarah.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself.
Yep, you too. Okay.
If anyone has questions still want to stay on, I'll be on for a couple more minutes.
Could you bring up the health coaching slide that Carly presented?
Sure, let me just
leave it
share.
for that. I wanted to grab a screenshot.
Okay, 1 sec, I will get that.
Otherwise,
was this the one you were looking at, or the next one?
I think they said the slide prior.
Earlier.
Yeah. The one
Okay.
for this.
This is
There
the
was
one?
like 3 bullet points. It was a slide before that.
Oh,
There you go.
oh, okay. That's for Caroline. Yep.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
We can hear you. Yeah.
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
It's in regards to, my name is Angela. It's in regards to Medicare. What is the difference between a broker signing you up and you doing it yourself?
Well, a broker will help you navigate all the different options because there's lots of things with A. Well, A is the hospital, B is the medical, then there's D, which is pharmacy. And then when you have to get a supplement, and I'm not an expert on this by any means, but I have friends who have been doing this, and they went to brokers and actually found it really helpful. And the broker does not charge you.
Okay.
That's the important part. So I would get recommendations call a senior center, or if you can ask around your friends, they can usually recommend a broker. I was speaking to someone just yesterday who found a great broker. So they help you navigate because there's different choices, different costs, different coverage.
Okay. I've been getting mail stuff in the mail, and I was just wondering because I'm in the process of doing it.
Yeah. Well, I would recommend the broker.
Okay, thank you.
If you have any other questions, you can get in touch with us.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Thanks.
All right. Any other questions? We still have a few more minutes on the clock.
No other questions in the chat.
Okay. All right. Well, there's no other questions from the chat or the participants now. We can end the meeting. We'll give you another couple minutes.
Great.
All right. So there's still a lot of people on, so I don't know if they had questions or they're just. I have a health coach. Will I keep her? That's important. Carly?
I believe if it's a Thrive Health Coaching, if it's myself or Kristen, we're only available while you're a current employee.
Can you help them with, like, can they get it through their insurance or something, like that?
Right, possibly. There's lots of dietitians now that are available through insurance. So you'd have to check with your specific insurance. I know Kristen is the best. I know she's amazing. So make sure you meet with her before your last day, and so she can help you set up a plan for sure. I know we're always sad to have to say goodbye to people for sure. So you'll be eligible to see, likely through insurance, another dietitian. But unfortunately, right, I think we're only available to you while you're a current employee.
So get several sessions in, right?
While you're Kristen time in, I know.
Yeah. That's I mean, that's part of the endings of things. It's not easy.
I know.
All right. Well, speaking of endings, we're going to end this meeting, and feel free to get in touch with us, email or call, whatever works for you. Thank you for attending, and good luck with your retirement. I'm sure you'll all do really well. You already started by being, prepared and talking about it and being aware of the issues. That's the first step. So take care.